Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot out in North Houston, a small town just outside of North Houston. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. So it's been a hot minute since I've done a big box store plant shopping video, so I hope you enjoy this installment. I also have a huge bonus feature where I feature my grandmother's plant collection. I went ahead and visited her, and she will also give us a couple of tips on how she grows her beautiful plants, but that will be later in the video, so I hope you stick around for that. It is a beautiful morning out in North Houston. I'm just outside of North Houston in a small town called Huntsville, Texas. Definitely check out this Home Depot because they always have great plants, and you can see that it is fall season, so they're gonna have a bunch of these croton plants. This one is a croton petra for $19.98. Again, with crotons, they are a bit of a finicky plant, at least for me. Growing them indoors, they need quite a bit of light, so if you can't get them south-facing windows, definitely grow them under a grow light. They're also very thirsty plants when grown indoors. They are really best to be grown outdoors in full sun. When I went and had a vacation out in the Philippines back in August, I ended up seeing a bunch of these crotons, and they just grew so easily in that type of climate. I do love the look of croton plants. A lot of people may not be a big fan of them, but I love them. And then over here, we're gonna walk over and check out all of these plants. So all of these large foliage plants are by Vigoro Plants. You can see we've got some sansevierias right over here, right next to some peace lilies. Look at how massive those leaves are. Love the texture of the peace lily as well as majesty palms. Now these are on sale, and what I like about a lot of the Home Depots I visited not too long ago is that they have a lot of sales where they're like 50% off, or you get like a special deal with that. This is that succulent fixture that they always have of hanging baskets, and then we have some more Vigoro plants right over here. You can see this one is an anthurium, a blooming anthurium here. That one has more of a copper tone bloom, really nice looking plant. And then over here, and I find this really interesting, they actually have a fixture for exotic angel hanging baskets. Typically out in the North Dallas area, which is where I'm based at, they have a Vigoro hanging basket, but this one right here, the Huntsville, Texas Home Depot, has an exotic angels hanging basket by Costa Farms. I love Costa Farms plants, and it looks like they have them on sale. You can see right over here, they do have a beautiful pink one right here, some pink syngoniums for $19.98. We also have another one right here, a Philodendron hederaceum Brazil. Love Philodendron hederaceum Brazil. It's an easy grower, so if anybody who wants to start like a plant collection, I would recommend this plant. You do want to give it more bright indirect light to really get the best variegation, but I do love that it is grown by Costa Farms. Costa Farms is one of the leading nurseries to go provide at big box stores. Over here is a beautiful Syngonium Maria. Now with Syngonium Maria, it does have darker foliage. To get that darker foliage, that chocolate brown look, you want to give Syngonium Maria more bright indirect light. The more light you give it, the better and darker the foliage is going to be. It's actually an easy to care for plant as well. And then we have even more hanging baskets here. So they have a combination of 6-inch hanging baskets as well as 8-inch hanging baskets. I mean, here we have a Hydra Helix. This is the Hedera Helix or Gold Baby English Ivy. For those that are new to the channel, number one, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies, and then number two, I mispronounce Hedera Helix as Hydra Helix because for the longest time I was calling it Hydra Helix versus Hedera Helix. It is a plant foldy staple. For some reason, you guys want to count how many times I say Hydra Helix on a live premiere chat, so there you go. And then over here we have some Bonnie spider plants. Now I like spider plants. My grandmother actually is going to be gifting me a spider plant because she can just easily propagate them. This one is the curly version, so they call this the Bonnie spider plant. The thing about spider plants is that you have to look for the water. Sometimes if you give it tap water, the hard water will actually brown the tips of the leaves. So you want to try to give it like purified water or distilled water if possible. It's an easy to care for plant though. And then over here we have a Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen. Now I do like the Hoya carnosas, and then this one right here is also for $19.84. I love the look of it, and it's one of those plants that it is easy to find at big box stores, the Hoya carnosa versions. And then we're going to walk over here and take a look at some more of their hanging baskets. Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This is the plant that starts everybody's plant journey, or I feel like that is the one of the plants. And then we have a philodendron heteroraceum here, just a green version. Love that heart-shaped leaf as well. That is another plant that is similar to a pothos plant. It's just a green version, and when you grow it up a pole, a totem pole, a moss pole, it actually gets larger leaves. So I always recommend, you know, these types of plants, if you're not going to grow them in a hanging basket form, grow them in their natural way, which is to want to climb up a pole. Over here is another Bonnie spider plant, and it looks like you know, Costa Farms, for some reason they tend to release certain types of hanging baskets. I can tell that they've released a bunch of like Bonnie spider plants, as well as like Hedera helix or English ivy. I like that. I do love the look of Hedera helix. It's just a very challenging plant. I did end up getting one though, and it has been doing well for me. So good news is, plant foldies, is that I've actually set up my plant room. So it is got the humidifiers, I've got grow lights, I've been able to move a lot of my plants over there. So a houseplant tour is in the works. Just keep commenting if you want to see a houseplant tour to see some of my personal plant collection. But for now, I will be taking you alongside with me to do some big box store plant shopping videos. For those that have actually tuned in and watched my PlantCon videos, thank you so much for watching them. Love PlantCon 2024 in Dallas. We had a huge turnout, and then just the amount of new viewers and new subscribers that have come to GrowFold's PlantFoldy community because of the PlantCon videos. Thank you so much. Just expect that a lot of my videos are going to be plant shopping videos for big box or plant shopping, just content of that nature, just because big box stores provide a lot of the common or easy to find plants, easy to care for plants. And I always believe, like for instance, this Tradescanthia, for instance, plants need to be accessible to everybody. It shouldn't just be for one specific niche. It should be for everybody. And, you know, looking at some of the rare and uncommon houseplants that I found at PlantCon, I loved it. I spent quite a bit of money, probably enough to pay 1 month's mortgage, but it was definitely worth it. However, whenever you look at this Epipremnum aureum neon pothos, for instance, we can find budget-friendly plants at big box stores. I know some people have some you know, some qualms about big box stores, whether it, you know, takes away from small businesses or local nurseries. I believe that both can coexist. It just really depends on the pricing. You know, sometimes they will say that big box stores tend to have the better pricing, but on the flip side, if you really love plants, you definitely want to support small businesses. I definitely do. I also like to support, you know, local nurseries, because you are more guaranteed, or I wouldn't even say guaranteed, I would say that there is a higher likelihood that you'll be able to pick up a healthy plant that is most likely not going to contain pests. Because whenever you go big box or plant shopping, the big box store is not necessarily going to prioritize the plant care. Therefore, there might be some potential pests. Whenever you go plant shopping, whether it's a big box store or local nursery, you always want to inspect the leaves. You always want to see the soil. You want to see for any signs of new growth. That way you are potentially taking a pretty healthy looking plant. That's just, you know, plant shopping 101, or at least that's my my care tips and my tips for whenever you go plant shopping. I always spray all of my plants, whether it's from a big box store or a local nursery, with my neem oil spray. It's a DIY neem oil spray that I call the Foldy Mist, which is basically taking a spray bottle, just a conventional spray bottle, 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil that you can buy on Amazon. You can put 2 tablespoons of rubbing alcohol, 70% strength, and then 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, a drop of dish soap. Fill up this, the spray bottle with water, shake, 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 spray it on the plant. For instance, if I were to buy this staghorn fern, I would definitely spray the bottom of the leaves, the tops of the leaves, in between the stems, the top of the soil, the bottom of the drainage hole, just to make sure that the plant, if it has any hitchhiker pests, that, you know, you kind of eradicate that. But again, here is another beautiful Hydra helix. Love this gold baby English ivy. Look at the variegation of it. And you know, my love for English ivy is because the leaves look like maple leaves. And I also love collecting Japanese maples or Acer palmatum, as well as different types of maples like trident maples and more uncommon maples. I do have a garden that I've been working on, a Japanese garden in my backyard that I may eventually show you guys. I have an amazing looking ginkgo tree that has just really put on a lot of new growth this year. But anyways, plant foldies, you can see that Home Depot out here in Huntsville, Texas, they tend to have a lot of plants that are, you know, they tend to be full. And I think it's because maybe the foot traffic isn't as heavy, but I don't mind that because then you're more guaranteed to finding some really good plants, some healthy plants. They're not necessarily picked over. I will say that every time I come back to Huntsville just to check out this place, they've always had plants that have enticed me to buy, even though I didn't really have that intent to purchase plants. Love this for sure. And you know, it's one of those big box stores, Home Depot, that, you know, not all big box stores are created equal. Some big box stores tend to get more replenishment. Some big box stores tend to take care of their plants more so than others. So you just really have to do a lot of plant shopping. Now, if you are a local plant foldie out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on, because ever since PlantCon, I have picked it up again in terms of going to daily big box stores to film content. I do have several already lined up, so you guys will see a bunch of new content throughout the week. Like for instance, this Cupid peperomia, for instance. Now this one is more succulent in the way it behaves. You do want to give it a lot of bright light, and you don't necessarily have to give this Cupid peperomia quite a bit of water. It actually tends to like it more so to be on the drier side. So what I would do is I would just wait for the soil to dry out completely and then give it a really good soak. I have been doing better in terms of just watering my plants on a consistent basis. I tend to be what you call an underwaterer, or somebody that doesn't water their plants nearly as much as what the plants have asked for. And a lot of that has to do with my very demanding job. You know, I am in management, and, you know, having to work at least 10 hours a day when I actually work. Sometimes I'm super tired. And when you think about me going to a big box store after a long 10-hour shift, it can be a lot. And sometimes the watering schedule comes off. But anyways, going back to the plants, you can see that they do have this Leaf Joy series by Proven Winners. And you can see right here, they have what they call a hydroponic, Leaf Joy H2O bowl, where basically the plant is growing in just straight water. This is a beautiful Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. Truthfully, this is for like $19.98. It is a little bit pricey for the bowls. I do like the concept. I do like hydroponics. I do find that hydroponics, you have to stay on top of the plant nutrients. And I was really thankful that after filming another local nursery called Green Acres in Irving, Texas, my friend Tanya kind of showed me what plant nutrients I should use. So it's the Fox Farm fertilizers. So I'll go into that when I actually premiere my Green Acres video sometime this week. But to go back to the plants, all of these are by Proven Winners. And you can see this Dracaena, for instance, has a really good elaborate like root system. The thing I like about these Leaf Joy plants is that these are easy to care for plants. For instance, this Philodendron Rojo Congo for $19.98. Love this philodendron. I love the red stems. And while most people will say this is a common philodendron, it is a philodendron that will bring you joy in a sense that it's easy to care for. And that's what I always talk about these plants. Like big box store plants are not, just basic plants. They're plants that are readily available, are typically at a good price, and you can grow them to where you're not going to be having to be a helicopter plant parent. You can kind of give them a little bit more neglect versus getting some of the more rare philodendrons, aeroids that you could find maybe at a plant convention. Now, as far as both plants, I like to see, collect both plants, both rare and uncommon, but also easy to care for plants. Now, this twirly whirly fern which I always find interesting with proven winners. They always like rename their plants. Is a really cool looking one. I love the texture. And then right over here, we have another Hoya. And after going to PlantCon, I have been adding more Hoyas to my collection. And I think it's because not only do they have so many different varieties, I do like the variegation and the speckling. Also, the blooming potential is a plus, but I find that Hoyas are more forgiving for those that actually do not water the plants nearly as much. I say this in all my videos, but there was one time where I literally didn't water one of my Hoyas for an entire month. And while the leaves started to get really crinkly and started to just like droop, after 48 hours of from watering it, it was like as if nothing happened. And that's sometimes the kind of plants I need in my plant collection, ones that are a little bit more forgiving. And I will talk to you guys more about what plants I would say are a little bit more forgiving with neglect. Now this one right here, this Hoya teacup anomine, this teacup Hoya, I definitely want to add that too. And what I like about proven winners is that they have a lot of these new Hoyas that are really priced well. $5.98 is not a bad price for that, as well as this Philodendron gloriosum, beautiful Philodendron gloriosum. Now with Philodendron gloriosum, notice how it is creeping over the pot. It doesn't really want to grow up. This is a philodendron that likes to crawl across the soil or a substrate, so you're gonna have to give it more of a horizontal type of planter. I do love the look of it. It's got velvety textured leaves, which means, at least in my experience with velvety texture type plants, they tend to be a little bit more spider mite prone. So what I would suggest is definitely maintaining the neem oil spray or some type of pest preventative. That is just one way to kind of keep them away from your plant collection. When it comes down to plant pests, somebody's asked me this before. Plant pests are always going to appear in somebody's plant collection. No matter how much pest preventative you've done, whether you're spraying your plants, whether you're using systemic granules, sometimes it just happens. And, it's one of those things where as long as you can capture it before it becomes a full-blown infestation, then you'll be okay. And that's the reason why I think plant foldies that we all have to really fine-tune how many plants we actually place in our plant collection. It was something that I learned, and it's more of I've been buying a lot of plants. I bought so many plants actually at PlantCon. I've recently added even more plants, and had I not added all of these plants in my plant collection, my plant room, my whole house would be a cluttered mess where literally there would just be plants everywhere. That's not really how I want my space to be, because then it becomes more overwhelming on like what plants you have. So go back to my point. Sometimes adding too many plants in your plant collection can be very stressful, and it takes away from just the joy of plants. It also harbors a potential of getting more pests because there are more plants to tend, meaning you're not able to get to every single plant that you want to see in terms of just inspecting whether it's different plant pests. But again, plant foldies, those that are watching this video, you already know that whenever I do big box or plant shopping videos, I like to talk to you guys as if I'm talking to you and we're hanging out. I utilize this more so as a personal blog. Some people may not be into it, and I actually got a couple of feedback that wasn't as kind, but for those that actually watch my videos and truly appreciate the content, I really appreciate it. You guys are what inspire me to continue to go to these big box stores, invest so many hours of work just to give you guys that 1 hour plant shopping video that we all look forward to, including myself, on a daily basis. Now, to go back to the plants, Ficus elastica taniki, beautiful plant as well. Now, I did realize that trying to grow Ficus elasticas out in full sun in summer heat in Texas weather, full sun, was not the best idea. I think the heat was too much. Now, these plants can live outside in full sun. A lot of people say bright indirect light, but whenever I went over to the Philippines, my family's originally from the Philippines, these plants were growing as tall as like 20 to 30 feet tall as full-blown trees. It was immaculate. But we also have to look at the tropical climate. It was a little bit more humid, and it wasn't nearly as hot as it is in Texas. I mean, living in Texas, 100+ degree weather is not a fun time, especially for plants. Now over here, this Ficus elastica ruby, I love the ruby, but for you to be able to maintain that salmon ruby look on the leaves, you really have to provide it with quite a bit of light. rubber trees or Ficus elastica are plants that I would say aren't necessarily beginner plants. They're more so intermediate plants. It would be something that as long as you can provide them with the light that they need, they'll do well for you. Now, if you have lower light conditions in your home, you might want to supplement them with either grow lights, or if you can grow them outdoors, that would be my best bet for you. Now, I did want to show you some plant products that I would suggest using. So worm castings. So if you're using a soil substrate, adding worm castings to your soil is really going to give that organic matter. It's going to give them a little bit more of a boost for root development. So I always recommend worm castings if you're going to go ahead and mix your soil. And then as far as Miracle-Gro, now they haven't officially sponsored me, but if Miracle-Gro ever did, want to reach out to me, I am totally down for that. I do use Miracle-Gro all-purpose fertilizer. And you can see that the NPK will show you what the fertilizer means. Sometimes people wonder what that looks like. Like the N obviously is for the nitrogen. Nitrogen is what actually causes the plant to put on more growth, more leaves. So if you have a higher nitrogen content and you give it to a plant that you want to bloom, sometimes plants will actually produce more foliage versus the bloom. So you have to really see a balance for that. One plant that I noticed that if you fertilize it too much, it's a flowering plant, it's a marigold, you'll actually get more leaves versus the blooms. So sometimes you have to look at your what supplements you're giving your plants, what they actually need, what they don't need to get the best out of them. Liquid, the indoor liquid fertilizer I do use, you can actually use that in very small doses and feed your plants. Now this one right here is this rooting powder. I've used this many times and it does help aid in the rooting, as far as rooting hormones to actually produce a higher chance for propagation. That's a part of the joy about growing plants for me, is actually being able to propagate plants and super thrive. The B vitamin, some people don't believe in it. Some people say that just doesn't work for plants. But if you ever have a stressed plant, if you ever repot a plant, if you ever transfer a plant from a soil substrate to like semi-hydroponics like Pond or Leca, I would add a little bit of Super Thrive because it does help with the just acclimating the plant. And then obviously I've used that hibiscus plant food. I haven't used a lot of the Vigoro plant products, but I'm sure that they would do very well. Now you can see that there's not a lot of people walking around this Home Depot, which makes it exciting for me because whenever I do big box store plant shopping videos, I like to not get people in the videos. I want to be very respectful for people's spaces, even though it is in a public setting. And you can see that this Home Depot has quite a bit of opuntia. See, I'm starting to learn more about succulents and cactus, but the opuntias, they're a really nice looking cactus. I recently got a ghost euphorbia, super cool. So you will see that when I do my houseplant tour. Again, plant foldies, if you made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button, and then also encourage you guys to leave a lot of comments for me. The act of just hitting the like button helps this channel grow so much. So if there's anything that I would ask is, if you are watching this video and you have enjoyed the content so far, please don't forget to hit the like button for this video. I may ask that several times in the videos. I'm not really shy when it comes to the things that I would need, and hopefully you guys will be able to support me for that. But as you can see right here, Opuntia, Emerald Wave, these are by Smart Plants, and Smart Plants tends to actually source to Home Depot as far as their succulents and cactus. Those are for $9.98. It's not a bad price at all. I just haven't added a lot of succulents and cactus to my collection. Now, there is a plant foldie by the name of Trish. Hello, Trish, if you're watching. I was so happy to have met her at PlantCon 2024. There were several plant foldies I've actually met at PlantCon 2024 in person in Dallas, and Trish actually has convinced me to be a little bit more open to euphorbias and cactus. She was telling me about her collection, and so whenever I go plant shopping or just filming videos, especially at a big box store or any plant nursery, I think about some of my viewers who like succulents and cactus. So you'll see a wide wide range of different types of plants, especially if you're new to the channel. A lot of people may look for the more tropical house plants, the aeroids, the philodendron, that sort of thing. And I do love that, but I also love showing outdoor plants, gardening. I might touch vegetables at some point in the spring. And I'm also learning more about succulents and cactus. So it's this plant channel is really evolving, and hopefully I can even draw more interest, more love for those that want to start growing plants, whether it's indoor tropical plants, whether it's succulents and cactus, whether it's bonsai, whether it's making kokedama. And oh my gosh, if you didn't see my plant con video from day 2, definitely check it out. There was an amazing kokedama display. For those who don't know what kokedama is, it's basically the Japanese art of growing plants into sort of like a moss ball. Really love the look at that. I will be DIYing a couple of my plants into kokedama because I find it modern and very stylish, and my my home's aesthetics, just my decor is mostly Japanese inspired. So I want to share that as well with you guys. But as you can see here, plant foldies, I'm just going to go pan over all of the different types of succulents and cactus. They also have some agave. We've got some succulent arrangements here, and this is really cool. So for my grow zone, which is 8B North Dallas, you can actually grow this in your landscape because it is cold tolerant. Now this one is for $29.98. Beautiful agave. It's still prickly. And then we have an elephant bush kaleidoscope. So I love the variegation of this, but I also love that they have it has red stems. This is for $26.98. Really nice looking succulent as well. And with succulents, I would say the basic care tips for succulents would definitely be make sure you plant them in a fast draining chunky soil mix. You don't want to overwater them, so wait till their soil is dry out completely. Less water is actually better for them. And then also bright light, whether it's full sun or bright indirect light. They definitely need to get a lot of light for them to really thrive. You can see that elephant bush right there. It's beautiful. Love the variegation. And all of these plants look very healthy. And the thing about succulents and cactus, after going to a plant convention, I was able to see really uncommon and rare ones. Like this one right here is kind of weird looking. Agave threads. This one is for $26.98 by Smart Plants. But whenever you're shopping for big box store plants, I always say that you get a lot of value in terms of the price. And for me, whenever I go plant shopping, I always look at the price, whether it's at a plant convention or at a big box store. And big box stores typically tend to have cost-effective pricing, but that is not always the case. So you always want to look out and compare and contrast pricing. I try my best to give you guys all the pricing, or just at least show you the prices for the plants that I'm showing you. Like right here, this one is for $26.98. I do love the fact that it has a Texas sticker where it shows that it is cold tolerant. This would be another agave that you could potentially grow in your landscape. And I'm all about, being able to grow plants in a garden. Outdoor plants are amazing. I had a really good successful year being able to grow, for instance, lantana, which is a flowering ground cover that's drought tolerant, and it really worked well for me in the summertime, with Texas being so hot. And then over here we've got a bunch of other succulents and cactus available by Smart Plants. You can see this one is an echeveria. It has actually another baby popping out, and I'm just going to be panning over several different types of succulents and cactus. Feel free to leave a comment or a timestamp and let me know what cactus and succulents you like, if you have any plant insights. But I'm going to go ahead and just pan over and keep filming all of these succulents for you. So hopefully you enjoy this. And you can see plant foldies. We've got a lot of different types of succulents and cactus. And then the plant pricing, $6.98. That is not a bad price at all. So if you wanted to start a succulent or cacti collection, definitely run over to a Home Depot. Actually, most big box stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, and Walmart have a lot of succulents and cactus. You can see that little branch broke off. So I'm just going to stick it back into the soil. And really, whenever you're propagating succulents and cactus, it's that easy. You can just take a piece of the succulent and stick it into the soil, maybe mist it a little bit, and it will root easily. And then you can see over here, look at the shapes of these cactus right here. I think those are super cute. And I love the fact that these little prickly cactus that we're about to look, I got to be careful as I lift these up, will actually give some beautiful blooms. I just love the shapes and the perfection of the cactus right there. And then over here we have smaller like hanging baskets of succulents right here. This one is a some type of portulaca. Really like that as well. And this is another plant, especially with the variegation, you want to make sure you're providing it with quite a bit of bright indirect light. Some people can say full sun. I don't necessarily know. I just know that certain succulents can't just be in full sun. That was something that I learned. I just assumed that every single succulent or cactus was always wanting to be in like a desert setting, therefore you could just put it out in 100+ degree weather. Well, I learned quickly that ended up frying them, literally baking them. So I kind of stopped doing that. I just have to learn a little bit more about succulents and cactus. It just is one of the plants that I didn't grow up. And this is the reason why today's episode is very special to me, is because I will be sharing some of my grandmother's plants that she's been growing out. A lot of these plants are actually plants that I ended up giving to her, and she was able to grow them into massive sizes. She's been able to multiply and propagate them. And I really look up to my grandmother. I call my grandmother Lola, which is basically grandmother in Tagalog, which is the national language of the Philippines. You will see that. So I hope you guys will stick to the very end of this video to see her beautiful plants. I did interview her a little bit. I'll have some subtitles as well if she speaks in Tagalog, so that way you guys can kind of see her insights. I do intend to continue to feature my grandmother in all of my my videos if I'm able to do so, because she is literally the master of plants. Everything that I've learned, all of the knowledge I've learned as a kid, I learned from my grandmother. She mentioned that while we're looking at these beautiful succulents and cactus, for instance, there is no such thing as a green thumb. Everybody can have a green thumb, according to her. It's really the amount of time, dedication, and care you have for plants. She also talked about how plants are kind of like children. You have to really nurture them. You have to give them their needs. You really have to care about them. You can't just pick up a plant and think that it's like some type of decoration and expect it to thrive. You have to give it that love and care. And what I love about this plant community, the plant foldies, is everybody here is a really positive person. I've only run into a couple of people that may not be so kind. Whenever I think about some of the negativity that's given, I always think perhaps that person just needs a little bit more kindness in their life. But for the most part, when it comes down to plants, if you pour that same love and passion into your plants will reward you with beautiful foliage, new growth, and just a lot of joy. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, all of these succulents and cactus, I do like them. I do like more of the pink variegation on the cactus. And I'm going to say, for the most part, if I am going to collect cactus, I know it sounds bad, but I really want to get more of the rare or uncommon variegated ones. PlantCon was amazing, and I was exposed to so many plants. That's one thing I will say. If you are just finding my videos, definitely find the PlantCon playlist in my YouTube channel, and definitely watch those plants. You'll see some plants that you may not see typically at a big box store. But this one right here, Kalanchoe Chocolate Soldier, I actually want to add this to my collection because I like Kalanchoe. And this one right here, there's so many different versions of Kalanchoe. You can get Kalanchoe that are found at grocery stores where they're more of like a blooming type of succulent, but I do like the texture of that. I also like Crusala or jade plants. So jade plants are plants that I actually grew up knowing. So that was actually one of the few succulents that I grew up knowing. My grandmother grew a lot of succulents, not succulents, but she grew a lot of jade plants. And then this right here, I think this is an echeveria, but there are just many smaller varieties here. You can go to a big box store, and this one right here is really cute. This is actually a small agave. And I actually think about certain plants. There are certain plants that I will buy as a starter plant. And y'all have to let me know if you actually buy smaller plants or do you just buy a big plant and call it a day. For me, there are certain plants that I'm willing to spend money on, like buy a big plant because I want that instant gratification. But I feel like what's rewarding is to take a starter plant, a smaller plant, and really see it grow. I've done that before, and I've actually taken like smaller plants or plants that were like from a one leaf, one node cutting, and it ended up becoming a full-blown plant because I grew it large enough to where I can propagate it, get more cuttings, and really get a full plant. So plant foldies, if you have stories or insights about certain plants, I welcome you to add them into the comment section. Again, this YouTube channel, this community is all about engagement. That brings me so much joy, whether it's you tuning into a live premiere chat. So if you're not watching this during a live premiere chat, engage with me, talk to me on the comment section. I would love that. Aglaonema Maria, love that plant as well. I've already had this Aglaonema. This one is for $15.98, but I know that they were actually having a sale where these were $9.98, which would be a really good price. I recommend that everybody try growing Aglaonema. I saw a bunch of rare and beautiful ones at PlantCon, but for the most part, you can find Aglaonema at big box stores, and they are one of the easiest types of plants to grow. I do think that they are super underrated. If you talk to some of my friends that love plants, they also say that Aglaonema is often overlooked. Now over here is really cool. 3 for $12, the Exotic Angel starter plants. And you talk about starter plants. Thank you to Costa Farms for actually having a lot of these plants readily available. I'm also super excited to show you what Costa Farms plants that they have here, as well as Vigoro plants. They actually have a sale going on at Home Depot, and that's the thing, plant foldies. Sometimes you get lucky. I did not expect to have a full, very organized, beautiful looking setup for plants. So I have to give kudos to the Huntsville, Texas Home Depot. So if you are a local in that area, I would definitely check that out. So here's a couple of Exotic Angel plants. This one is a Philodendron heteroraceum. Again, this is on sale for $4. Love that heart-shaped leaf on this Philodendron heteroraceum. It is a good starter plant. That is a really good price, actually. I would recommend purchasing that. And it's really tempting for me to buy several of these plants because it is a good price. So that also goes to the point of binge purchasing or impulse buying. Yeah, it is $5.98. Originally, like this Snow White waffle plant, I had one of these before, and I love everything about it. I love the pink, the purple, the texture of the leaves, but it is a challenging plant. But since it is $4, I will be picking up one again today. And the fact that I got my plant room set up where I have humidifiers, I feel like I can give it a better environment, and perhaps the success rate or the potential success rate increases with that type of that environment. And over here, Dracaena janicreg compacta, one of the plants that I feel like everybody should add to their collection. Dracaenas in general are highly underrated plants. These plants are so easy and they have beautiful colors. Although the janicreg compacta, it's more of a green color, but again, green is also beautiful. I know that we all look for those variegated plants, and there is that beautiful leaf interest, but green is also very healing, very calming. It gives you that Zen vibe. So I would recommend also doing, getting a Dracaena. I also love Phytonias. The only thing about Phytonias, plant foldies, is I can't grow them because they are very thirsty plants. So thirsty plants are plants that need a lot of water. It's just not going to work well for my current plant collection. I need plants that can be a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more that can give me a little bit more grace if I don't water them on a consistent basis. Otherwise, I'm going to be in a situation where they end up dying because I did not water them nearly as much as they needed. And that's, you know, that's I guess the struggle with me is just whenever I get enough time to actually water my plants. But anyways, we're going to keep looking at some of these exotic angel plants. You can see right over here, we've got a beautiful Galaxy False Aralia. Love these plants as well. And they can actually get pretty massive. So I like the look of it. It's one of those plants that I feel like you can add to any collection. And it's another plant that I would recommend as well. And then we also have some more Snow White waffle plants. Really like the look of that. It is another plant that I feel like is readily available, especially since Costa Farms has it readily available. And it's another plant that I just feel like more people need to be aware of. And then over here, we've got a Fittonia combo. Now, this one's not on sale. This one is for $7.98. I do like the look of it. It is a pretty plant. It's just one that, you know, we just need to have more humidity. With Fittonias, they just need to have more of like a terrarium type environment for them to really thrive, or at least that's what I would recommend. Then over here, we've got a croton plant, and croton plants, this is the Luna croton plant. Croton plants hold a special place in my heart because when I went back to my home country, seeing these plants grow into full maturity where they were like 15 feet tall, they were just thriving on the side of the road. Nobody was having to water them. They just literally let Mother Nature take care of them. They are such gorgeous plants. And I know some people don't like their colors or don't find them attractive, but it is a plant that I really like personally. Over here is another plant that I love. This is a Dracaena warneckii. And what I like about it is it obviously has that beautiful striping. The coloration is gorgeous. It is low light tolerant. It is low light tolerant, although I would always recommend, whether a plant is low light tolerant or not, give it that bright indirect light for that to move. But that is another beginner plant. So if you are watching my videos for the first time or just been watching my videos, that would be another Richie recommendation for basic, easy to care for plants at a good price. Over here is a Croton Petra. Unfortunately, crotons are what you would call advanced level growing. They are definitely not intermediate plants because they are fussy, especially when you grow them indoors, at least on the western part of the world. Maybe if you live in a Southeast Asian country, those would just thrive. But in North Dallas, they definitely have their challenges. And I find it interesting that during the fall, people will see a lot of these crotons appear at big box stores. And I would assume that a lot of them are just used for like fall decoration as more of like an annual plant versus a long-term plant, which is unfortunate because crotons, when given the right conditions, are massive, beautiful plants. Red vein Fittonia, beautiful plant. Again, that is for $4. So a lot of these plants that I'm picking up are $4. And then we have another bush on the on fire croton. I love this because look at that red fiery tone. It literally looks like a flame, and this is another croton I would love to add to my collection. I'm holding off from purchasing crotons or adding into my collection until I can really stabilize a certain plant collection. Again, plant foldies, I have bought so many plants in the last 2 weeks. I have probably spent close to somebody's mortgage payment. If I'm going to give you full transparency, I don't necessarily regret it because a lot of these plants I purchased while I was at PlantCon, and these are rare and uncommon plants that you can't necessarily find. It's easier for me to go do a selection because you're looking at them in person versus buying them online. And obviously there were a couple of other plants that I haven't shown, but I'm super excited. Like literally, I love neon colored plants. So I've got some cool plants like a neon Monstera adansonii. I don't think anybody's really seen a neon version or an Aurea version of that. So there are certain plants that I just started collecting and I can't stop. Now this Gold Crest False Aralia, I definitely purchased this one at this Home Depot because it is a beautiful plant and it is an easy to care for plant. With Aralias, they do need a little bit more water, but they can be forgiving. I do like that the edges of the leaves have that yellow tone about it. You know, for me, there's just a lot of things that go into what plants I'm more interested in or what actually attract me. It would be leaf interest, it would be textures, it would be whether they have neon colored leaves, pink colors, or dark foliage plants. I love it all. And for the most part, big box stores like Costa Farms, I'm telling you, Costa Farms will give you some good, easy to care for plants, or plants for a plant selection. Gotta love that. And you know, it just brings me so much joy to pick up these Sunny Star Croton plants. Like, that is another croton I want to add to my collection. It is a it is a croton that I feel like has really good leaf interest. Actually, most crotons do. And if you really look at some of my plant interests, it's really all of the plants that are a little bit more flamboyant in their leaf colors. And then over here is a Rex begonia. This one has some beautiful like pink tones about it. Now, the thing about begonias is they're beautiful. I love begonias. I just can't grow Rex begonias, but I ended up getting baited to buy a Rex begonia. We'll see how that goes. And then Philodendron heteroraceum, Brazil. $4 again. This is on sale. It is one of the easier to care for plants. Any of the Philodendron heteroraceums are really easy, so definitely add that to your collection if you're able to purchase it. I would purchase it. I would recommend anybody who's starting to grow plants to start off with maybe a Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. It'll give you a lot of joy, because once you start to get it to thrive, you can actually propagate it. And then obviously one of my favorites, Hydra Helix. This is the Hedera Helix Bettina. I've had this before. Unfortunately, I sent it to Plant Heaven. I've sent about 14 Hedera Helix to Plant Heaven. I still want to try to be able to grow this plant successfully, so I am on number 15. And then over here, we've got a Dracaena Limelight. So what I love about Dracaena Limelight, this one is for $7.98, is it is one of those plants that while you don't provide it nearly as much light, it will still maintain that gorgeous lime variegation, that neon color. Most neon colored plants will need to have a lot of light. So if you grow them, like if you have a neon pothos, for instance, you want to grow it near a south-facing window, a west-facing window, under a grow light if you're going to grow it indoors. Highly recommend that. Otherwise, they tend to revert back to more of a green color. And then peace lilies. Peace lilies are super easy. The thing about peace lilies is they are very dramatic plants in the fact that you pretty much have to water them every day. That's not a plant that's going to really work out for me long term unless I grow it hydroponically, which means I basically wash all of the soil substrate, put it in straight water, and let it grow that way. The flip side on that peace lily is it is a very low light tolerant plant. You can literally grow it in the bathroom with no windows and it will still live. This one is a Marble Queen Pothos. This is another plant that I love, pothos plants. And you know, when I went to the plant con, I was able to see Japanese pothos. Super cool, super rare. But pothos in general, or Epipremnum aureum, everybody needs that. Even if you own like really rare and uncommon plants, I would still recommend growing a pothos plant or an Epipremnum aureum. Like, this is the golden pothos, and this is the OG of all houseplants. I feel like everybody's had a golden pothos. If you don't have one, let's go ahead as a community, buy pothos plants, golden pothos plants. Leave it in the comments if you end up buying one. That would bring me so much joy, as well as go ahead and add an Aglaonema as well. This Dracaena Lime Surprise, another beautiful Dracaena, and I love the neon colored leaves that it has, and also all of the striping, the white texture, and then that matte green finish as well. Beautiful plant. Very easy to take care of a plant as well. So if you're going to ask me again for some of these basic, and when I say basic plants, it doesn't mean it's basic in the sense that there's no interest. It means that their care is actually so much more simpler than some of the other plants you might run into. I'm going to show you this again. Dracaena Lime Surprise, $7.98. This is another plant that I feel like everybody should add to their collection. I'm very transparent when it comes to some of the plants that I really have a little bit more of a fixation on or gravitate to, just because I feel like those are the plants I've had experience with. Now, for instance, is Sansevieria trifasciata, snake plant, or that's also known as like a snake plant. they are marketed as an easy to care for plant, but on the flip side, sometimes the watering can be a little bit challenging because you don't want it to overwater for sure, but you don't want to underwater. Otherwise, you get what you call dry rot, where you water the plant and it starts to the roots start to decompose as well. Over here, we have a gold dust croton, another beautiful plant. And I just remember seeing a beautiful gold dust croton that was like 10 feet tall in the Philippines. And it was just lovely. It's really interesting how, again, if you put a plant in its natural environment, you don't really have to do much. Mother Nature takes care of them. And when you think about, quote, a house plant, I say this in a lot of my videos, there is no such thing as a house plant. A house plant is basically a plant that was been able to be adapted into growing into a house, indoor conditions. But all of the plants that we see are actually found or sourced from some place in the world outdoors. Like for instance, Dracaenas are actually found I think in Africa. I'm not 100% sure, so please correct me if I'm wrong. And then also these Ficus elastica burgundy. Love this, and this is a Vigoro plant right here. This one is so beautiful. It's got several plants actually in this larger pot. I've seen this to be 30 feet tall when I was out in the Philippines. It was literally a full-blown tree. It took my breath away just because I, see this, and I see this in a big box store, but when you see the actual plant in its natural habitat, it is breathtaking. And that was for $26.98. Not a bad price at all. And that is what you call for me, that's an intermediate plant. Now, ZZ plants, I would say ZZs are probably easier. It's probably the easiest plant to grow in anybody's collection. It is low light tolerant, very low light tolerant, and it is very drought tolerant. Honestly, the way you kill a ZZ plant is if you water it too much. You can literally not water a ZZ plant for a month and it will be okay. Now you can see this is the Raven ZZ, and the Raven ZZ has a darker foliage, absolutely beautiful looking dark foliage. It's so pretty. And then the new leaves actually come out as a green, but then it darkens into a dark black color. Super cool. And again, Raven ZZ's beautiful plant. These are both for only $26.98. That is a really good deal considering ZZ plants are a little bit slower growing. Not as slow as what people think, but it is another plant that I feel like, you can add to your collection. I definitely want to collect more ZZ plants. One of my ZZ plants that I really want to get is a variegated ZZ. I'm just going to wait till I find the correct price for my budget and we'll see. And then over here, plant foldies, we've got a bunch of Aglaonema. So we've got an Aglaonema Silver Bay, arguably one of the most common Aglaonemas, but it's super beautiful. And then we have an Aglaonema White Rain or Golden Bay. This one is only for $26.98. And I think Home Depot probably has the best selection for large foliage plants, especially when it comes to Aglaonema. And for Aglaonema, I would actually recommend purchasing a large size Aglaonema if you don't want to wait for it to get that large, because Aglaonema are very slow growing plants. That is really the only drawback for Aglaonema. But for me, Aglaonema are very drought tolerant, so you don't have to water them nearly as much. They actually can be propagated through cuttings, or if you wait for them to push out more pups, you can separate it from the mother plant. But as I pan away over here, this Home Depot has quite a bit of large foliage plants. You can see here, this is a Ficus lyrata or a fiddle fig leaf tree. You can see that it is pushing out a little bit of new growth. Now, anything that is Ficus, and I say this in all my videos, you need to make sure that you are providing it with a lot of bright light. You can see over here the classic Monstera deliciosa, the green form, and with all of the variegated forms coming out from Monstera deliciosa, sometimes people worry whether these Monstera deliciosas are going to be sought after. I truly believe they are, because there is still something gorgeous about a green Monstera, especially if you can get it to size up and really get some really large leaves with some really beautiful fenestrations. And then over here, plant foliage, you can see that they have quite a bit of plants, and I love that they have these plants super organized. These are the Vigoro plants, so these are for $15.98. but they are on sale for $9.98. So you already know plant foldies. I am probably going to end up buying some just because the price is right. You can see here, this is a Philodendron Birkins, for instance. Now with Philodendron Birkins, they really are not created equal. Some Philodendron Birkins have better striping or variegation. I don't know if it's necessarily influenced by the light. And then you can see right here, this is an Aglaonema. They call this the Ghost. I'm probably going to buy this though because I love Aglaonemas. And I love Aglaonemas for the right value added price. I love cheap and inexpensive plants. And for $9.98 for a 6-inch planter of some beautiful Aglaonema, I will always pick that as well. What I like about this particular Aglaonema is look at how it's got more of a grayish tone. It's definitely got a pastel look about it. And the white stems are amazing. I love white stem Aglaonema. And you can see right here, Aglaonema Maria. That is probably another top 3 common Aglaonema you will find at a big box store. But needless to say, it's a very stable plant. It's an easy to care for plant. And then over here, plant foldies, we've got another Dieffenbachia. This again is on sale for $9.98. So as far as like Home Depot, at least the Home Depots I've run into whenever I filmed them, I've been able to find some really good value added plants, you know, plants that you don't typically see on sale. Like this one right here is a really nice $9.98 Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf tree. You can see that the brand new leaves are coming out, and that's one thing. If you are plant shopping, you want to find plants that show some new growth. It's just a good sign that the plant is healthy and it's going to continue to grow under your care. I don't really like to find project plants or plants that you have to rehab. You know, I used to be very in tune with possibly buying plants that are like on clearance. I call them the Rescue Me plants, but sometimes Rescue Me plants, there's just so much more effort to rehabbing them versus just buying a healthy plant in general. And that's really the sad part of sometimes big box or plant shopping is you can see that all of these plants are very lush and full and beautiful, but if they stay at a big box store long enough, they may not necessarily be sold and they end up going on clearance, and then it just becomes a quick way to go to plant heaven. But yes, I am going to go ahead and end up buying one of these Aglaonemas. I mean, it is on sale for $9.88, so that's a really good price for some of these plants. So I'm just going to keep panning over and showing you some more of these plants that they have available at this Home Depot. And it looks like we've got some more Costa Farms plants. This is another trending tropicals. This is an Epipremnum pinnatum, Baltic blue. Love that. Any Epipremnum pinnatums are very much so endemic to the Philippines. This particular version doesn't necessarily have to climb up a pole for it to start to fenestrate. And then over here is an Epipremnum alplissima, silver streak pothos. Love that as well. That is another plant though. I am curious whether you should grow it up a pole or if it's one of those plants that just kind of grows with or without a pole. Beautiful plant that looks to be a little bit dehydrated, but it looks like they just water these plants. And then obviously a Raven ZZ plant, like that is a beautiful plant as well. Now all of these trending tropical plants are for $19.87. These are in self-watering planters. And then we have some more Leaf Joy plants, and it looks like they are 50% off. So they were actually $19.98, but they're only $9.98, which is actually more of a fair price for me. You can see that this is another type of Syngonium right here by Proven Winners. Proven Winners tends to supply a lot of their plants, at least their indoor tropical plants, to Home Depot. I've never really seen a Proven Winner plant sourced out to Walmart, and I don't think I've really seen any at Lowe's. Lowe's tends to get a lot of indoor tropical plants from Costa Farms. Costa Farms though is everywhere, and that's the thing I love about Costa Farms is they will definitely have a lot of big box store plants, and any big box store you will see Costa Farms. Now, as far as Costa Farms being readily available at Home Depot, that's not always the case, but at least in this case right here, this Home Depot is actually doing a lot for me because they have quite a bit of plant selection. And if you look at this Ficus elastica, for instance, it looks super healthy. And that's the thing about certain big box stores. I actually want to challenge everybody to look at their big box stores and see and assess what their plant selection looks like. Leave it in the comments, plant foldies. I really want to know. Again, it is all about getting that engagement and really interacting with y'all. I really want to know what that looks like for you. And if you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching it all the way through so far. Please make sure you are hitting the like button. Again, that truly helps my plant channel grow even more so, because it does push it out to more plant lovers like yourself. And you know what better way to have more fun when there are more people involved. So let's definitely hit the like button. And then over here we've got a really nice looking ficus of some sort. I ended up buying this actually at another Home Depot because it was on sale for like $14. Beautiful plant. Again, with ficus though, you have to provide it with quite a bit of light in order for it to do well. Otherwise, it will actually decline in its health. Ficus in general, like this Ficus umbellata, for instance, I actually bought one at Home Depot as well. Beautiful plant, but it is a plant that you have to provide quite a bit of light for it to really thrive. It's also spider mite prone as compared to other ficus plants. Maybe it's because the leaves are a little bit thinner, but that is another ficus that I have in my personal collection. You can see that as I pan away, there's a lot of plants to look at this Home Depot. And here we are approaching another Costa Farms hanging basket fixture. We can see there's a beautiful neon pothos right over here. Love that. I mean, neon colored plants, they just do something for me. They bring me a lot of joy. They are one of my favorite types of plants. With neon pothos, you do need to give it a lot of light for it to maintain that neon color. And then we have another Hydra Helix. This is another gold baby English ivy. It looks like Costa Farms has just pushed out quite a bit of English ivy out to a lot of big box stores. I'm seeing them pop out at many different big box stores. That is another plant that, although they are beautiful, although that I love English ivy, they're just challenging to grow. Here is a Syndapsis Silver Ann. This one is also for $19.98. I like Syndapsis. I've seen a lot of Syndapsis at PlantCon recently. They are just not necessarily a plant that I'm running to purchase. I like the larger leaf Syndapsis. They're just a little bit slower for me. So if I had to pick between a Syndapsis versus a pothos plant, I would pick the pothos plant. And then this is a really cool looking lipstick plant as well. I love that, you know, Costa Farms has so many hanging baskets. The only thing about hanging baskets from Costa Farms is I prefer the 6.5-inch ones versus the 8-inch ones. I feel like the 8-inch ones are a little bit large for me, and I don't really want to drill a bunch of holes in my, on my ceiling. So I like the smaller ones because there's not such a large footprint when it comes to drilling a hole. There are many plants that you can see. This one is another Hoya. This is a Hoya Kurtzii. Really nice splashy look about it, and I do like the leaf shape. This is another one that's easy to take care of. You know, most Hoyas are, if you can provide them with quite a bit of light and humidity. If you can give them those two factors, then they will perform very well for you. You can see that we've got even more plants right here. This is another English ivy. And as I pan away from here, it looks like they have the same types of hanging baskets that they had inside the Home Depot. over here, they've got another shelf full of different Vigoro plants. So these are all for $9.98 on sale. This one is a Dracaena white aspen, and that is such a good price considering the Dracaena white aspen typically is a little bit more expensive. This is a harder Dracaena to grow just because the white parts tend to get brown and crispy. I've tried to grow them a couple of times and for some reason they just do not work well for me, but it is a beautiful plant. I really love the color of that particular plant. And then you can see right here, they've got some more trending tropicals, Costa Farms plants. And this is the first time I've ever seen this type of Aglaonema. So you already know plant foldies. I will buy this because it has some cool white stems, and then you can see the coloration of the leaves. It has like white edges on the leaves and then also some yellow speckling. So what a cool looking Aglaonema. I mean, what do you guys think, plant foldies? Would you buy this Aglaonema? Look at that. That edge has like a yellow leaf color and then just the white stems. Now I'm not sure about the health of the Aglaonema. I don't know if it's underwatered or overwatered. Clearly it just got watered, but I will definitely purchase this. I am collecting Aglaonemas. I'm actually excited because for PlantCon 2024 I was able to get my Dream Wish Aglaonema Lotus Delight from Toltec Plants. If you haven't seen Toltec Plants, please follow them on Instagram. I love Pearl and Toltec Plants. She and her husband actually have a farm in Thailand that they import a lot of their Aglaonemas. But going back to the big box store, you can see that there are more Costa Farms plants. So I do want to get one of these purple passion plants. I ended up killing mine because I ended up not watering it nearly as much. But look at that beautiful purple foliage. It's actually not a hard plant if you stay on top of the watering. Now this is a Dracaena Sandriana right over here. Now most Dracaenas are drought tolerant except this one. You definitely need to water it a little bit more frequently. It is more so in that bamboo looking type look. And then over here we've got some Epipremnum aureum global green pothos. I will end up buying this as well because look at the green on green variegation. It's got large leaves. I love pothos plants and pothos, Epipremnum aureum, however you want to call it. I am really inspired to collect more of those, especially after looking at the Japanese pothos from PlantCon. May, who owns the D&M Secret Garden, please follow them on Instagram, has all of the Japanese pothos available. I hope you can see that. And then over here, I'm also going to buy this one, is an Epipremnum aureum lemon meringue pothos. This one has more like that yellowish aurea variegation. That is a plant though you have to give it quite a bit of light for it to really push out that variegation. And then you can see right over here, we've got another Philodendron Birkins. I have a Philodendron Birkins growing in straight hydroponics. It's not nearly as variegated, but you know, it's a pretty easy plant to take care of. Most philodendrons are easy to take care of. You can see here another beautiful philodendron. This is a Philodendron Pink Princess by Costa Farms. Again, $19.98. Philodendron Pink Princess, though, you have to be super selective of the variegation. If you want more pink, then you have to find a Philodendron Pink Princess that is already exuding quite a bit of pink variegation. Otherwise, you're going to end up with more of like green foliage. I don't have a problem with green foliage, but if you're really looking for more pinks, you want to find the initial genetics in the plant with that variegation. Now, as you can see over here, plant foldies, I am going to just walk over and show you some more of the outdoor plants. There are quite a bit, and I just love the selection here. They're nice and full. They've had some plants on sale, and that brings me a lot of joy because I really wasn't intending to buy plants, but if the price is right, sometimes I end up just buying plants. You can see over here, this is a really cool looking flowering tropical plant. I just love the look of this purple lavender bloom. Let's see what it is called, if I can find a plant ID. Let's see right here. Yep, it is a flowering ginger plant. Really nice looking plant. Love the lavender purple color. And then we're going to pan around here. You can see that there are some more tropical plants, specifically all of these croton plants. So all of these croton plants tend to show up in the fall season. And you can see here Hawaiian tea plant. You already know, if this is a Grow Folds plant video, you will see a Hawaiian tea plant. I love cordyline plants. These plants, though, you cannot really grow them indoors successfully, or I feel like you can't, because they end up getting spider mites unless you are on top of the pest control. It is a beautiful plant. They really tend to like to be outdoors. If you grow them in full sun, they will actually give you really good coloration. I remember seeing a bunch of those in the Philippines, and they were just growing rampant. They were just growing their best life. They were just living their best life in the Philippines. And then over here, we have a bunch of hibiscus, but I did want to walk over and show you all of the different types of croton plants. Obviously, this is the Croton Petra for $16.98. Look at how beautiful the colors are. They definitely have that fall vibe about it. And I guess that's the reason why a lot of these crotons come out during the fall. I guess it's just a really good like fall patio decoration. But these plants, when you let them grow, they can become full-blown trees. And I really love the look of that. I ended up buying a croton plant here. This particular croton actually at this Home Depot a while back. This one is beautiful as well for $19.98. Beautiful croton. And with crotons, they just come in so many different colors. Light actually influences a lot of the crotons colors. I really like the ones that have like almost like a black color, and you can see right here, this is a beautiful yellow color. I love it so much. This one I believe is a croton mamai for $19.98. I regret not purchasing this because it's actually a nice size already. It's got a beautiful color, and you can see right next to it, it's the same plant, but you can see there is a stark difference in the colors as well. That's what happens whenever you have croton plants growing in different lighting conditions. Really like the look of that. Again, it's only for $19.98. And then over here, these are on sale for $12.88. This is another version of a cordyline plant or a Hawaiian tea plant. It's got more of the green on it, and there are actually many varieties of it, but what I'm most impressed about, at least right now, is all of the beautiful crotons. That sea of color, it just brings me a lot of joy. Now, plant foldies, let me know if you actually want to grow croton, if you've grown croton. What are your thoughts about crotons? Please leave that in the comments. And again, if you have made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button. It really does help out my channel. And then we're just gonna look at a couple of more plants before I head off to show you my grandmother's plants. Again, I am super excited to be able to feature that. You can see over here though, this is a beautiful Ficus triangularis, beautiful plant. Mine is doing very well. I made it into a bonsai. It is growing outdoors and it is living its best life. So I will do an update for that, as well as my my mini jade bonsai that I made as well. But as you can see here, plant foldies, lots of beautiful plants. I'm going to show you this Ficus triangularis again. Some people will say that this plant is actually very finicky. It can be, but when I'm growing it outdoors, it's actually doing very well. And I have to commend Home Depot, at least this one right here, because they've gotten all their plants organized. They have them on sale. I haven't seen any plants that looked unhealthy, and therefore for me, I would actually have a lot of confidence purchasing plants today because they have some healthy plants. Sometimes whenever you go big box or plant shopping, you'll find some plants that are super unhealthy next to maybe a potential plant that you want to buy. I wouldn't always recommend buying that because you don't know if that plant that was unhealthy is harboring pests that have already infected the potential plant you want to buy. So, those are just some of my thoughts. Obviously, pest preventative is that, and you can see now I am at my grandmother's house, and you can see she has some massive aglaonema, and I remember giving her these aglaonemas as like 3 or 4 inch starters. Look at how gorgeous they are. She grows them all indoors. She doesn't even really have grow lights. She just uses fluorescent lights, and they do well. Look at how beautiful that aglaonema silver bay is. My Lola Belen, or my grandmother Belen, there's just so much to admire from her, and it's really just the tenacity she has with her plants. Like, look at how healthy her aglaonema look. She was offering to give me a lot of these plants for free. I feel like she needs to keep growing them though until I can stabilize them. And look at how gorgeous this golden Madonna is. If only I can get it that large, that would be so awesome. And again, this is just her taking care of these plants for a couple years. She loves aglaonema. She says that aglaonema just have so many different colors and they're easy to care for. But you can see that this is a beautiful golden Madonna and it's got some more babies. She is the master at propagating plants, and I just love that I'm able to show you some of her personal plants. A lot of these plants again were given to me by her. She does believe in not spending a lot of money on plants. You know, my grandmother tends to be a little bit more frugal. She always says save your money, but when it comes to plants, if she only knew how much I spent on my plants at 2024 Plant Con, she would probably give me a scolding. But all of these plants are gorgeous. I mean, what do you think of these aglaonema? These are all her personal collection. She multiplies them, she propagates them, she gives them to her family members, and I've been able to get a couple of her propagations. Like this one right here is another aglaonema. Notice how super healthy they are, and she actually doesn't do a lot of pest preventatives. Like I never see her having to spray her plants. She just says she wipes them down, she cleans them with you know, a paper towel, and she just really takes the time to manicure them. And then here is another one of my favorite aglaonemas. This is an aglaonema BJ Friedman. You can see that that is a beautiful aglaonema, but you can see that these are very large plants. And this is a Sansevieria sayuri that I ended up giving to her. Very slow growing plant. She's been able to grow that. And then obviously her pothos or Epipremnum aureum. I gave her a couple of cuttings. She's been able to make these into full-blown plants. She continues to propagate them. And I told my grandmother, if I end up wanting to sell plants on GrowFolds as a GrowFolds like shop, she's going to be my main propagator, my main source, because look at this aglaonema stripes. Love that as well. That is another plant that she's had for about a year and a half, and she's been able to grow them. She's been able to propagate. And then she's got an aglaonema Etta Rose on the very left right over there. And then another aglaonema Golden Bay, beautiful plant as well. But her aglaonema collection just keeps growing. She keeps propagating them. She keeps getting them to grow larger. And then we have some more aglaonema right over here. She always loves to take care of aglaonema. She did say that in the Philippines they are more readily available. I agree, because it is just cheaper to source them. But like, look at this. Plant Foldies, what do you think about my grandmother's personal collection? I can't wait to show you my houseplant collection, but these are super healthy plants, and I'm glad that she allowed me to film some of her personal collection. You can see right here, even though they're basic plants like aglaonema Silver Bay, whenever you get them to thrive and grow into large sizes, I mean, they actually have more of an impact for me versus maybe somebody who has a more rare, uncommon plant. Again, Plant Foldies, please go into, get into aglaonemas, give them a try. Let's collect aglaonemas together. We need to get more people into aglaonemas. I mean, look at that. She's done amazing. And I love that she doesn't really have the best lighting conditions, but if you notice, even though she doesn't have the best lighting conditions, she's been able to grow them. And then I wanted to show you her outdoor side. These are all sampaguita, or what you call Arabian jasmine. That is also known as the national flower of the Philippines. She has been growing these for years, and I didn't realize that Arabian jasmine are actually perennials. And then look at all of her plumerias. So these plumerias she's had for a couple years, and she's been able to propagate them. They started out as very small cuttings. Clearly they've started to grow, and clearly she continues to multiply them. You can see that they have these beautiful pink blooms about them. She does say that plumerias are some of her favorite plants. In the Philippines, they become full-grown trees up to 20 feet tall, but it's really interesting that she's been able to grow these successfully in Texas, just because they don't necessarily have the best climate for them. They prefer humidity, and you can see right here she has another aglaonema that she has propagated and is growing out in full sun, and it's still doing okay. And then she has another cordyline Hawaiian tea plant mixed with a spider plant, but she can see that she has more plumerias. She's mixed up a bunch of potato vines right over here. So she does quite a bit of stuff. We're gonna just take a look at some of her plants. She did say that her garden is not necessarily organized. I just wanted to show you the plants she has. You can see she's also air layering the Ficus elastica, and she's going to give me this. This is an anthurium I gave her when it was very small. It was like in a 3-inch planter. You can see she's gotten really large leaves. What I plan to do though is take this anthurium and actually convert it into pond or semi-hydroponics. So we'll see about that. And then she's got some more monstera propagations, and you can see she is air layering some more Ficus elastica or rubber trees. She did offer to give me some ficus plants, but I told her that I had enough plants. She's always wanting to give me free plants because every time I visit her, she has like so many new propagations. And then you can see right here, more Ficus elastica. And then she's also growing okra in planters. So I love that she also grows a lot of vegetables. She's like me, or actually I'm more like my grandmother. I will grow any type of plant. I just love being able to grow a different variety of plants, not just indoor tropical aeroids, but vegetable plants. And whenever you grow your plants at home, like vegetables, they taste the best, or at least in my opinion, growing homegrown vegetables make the best type of vegetables to cook. And then you can see right here, she's got a huge Schefflera plant. Would you imagine that Schefflera plant was actually a Costa Farms exotic angel planter plant that was only 3 inches, you know, the 3-inch planters for $4. And then this is another begonia that I gave her. So I gave her a begonia that was probably in a 4-inch planter. She has happened to like be able to grow that in such a large size, to the point now that this has become her mother plant, and she is constantly propagating it. I mean, it has gone so massive. And what's interesting is she just grows it outside and it just keeps growing. She's got plants that are literally attaching to the wall. She's got an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue, for instance, but look at how massive that begonia is. She loves begonias. She loves Philodendron hederaceum. So it's just crawling everywhere. And she literally takes cuttings and keeps propagating and propagating and propagating. One thing I want to do for my grandmother is be able to give her a greenhouse, because she literally can just grow everything. She does say that it is a lot of effort to grow them. And you can see right here, that's an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue, and it is already attached to the wood right here. I told her though that when winter comes, she's going to have to cut that off. And I asked her if I can actually have the mature Epipremnum pinnatums that have already attached, because they are going to have larger leaves and potentially fenestrate. But you can see that the aerial roots are actually attached. And you know, North Houston or Houston has more humid weather as compared to Dallas. So I feel like her conditions, even though she's only about 3.5 hours away, bode better for these types of plants versus my growing conditions, my grow zone. But you can see right here, that is so cool. And then she also has Hoyas that she's able to grow. She's got neon pothos plants. They're all just mixed up. They're going crazy, but I know for a fact that my grandmother loves propagating plants. So again, plant foldies, if you can relate to loving to propagate plants, leave that in the comments. I want to know your thoughts about propagation, as well as what you think about her plants. And you know, a lot of these plants are very common basic plants you could probably find at a big box store, but when you start to grow them to large sizes, I think that that's amazing. And it just makes me so proud that, you know, she is able to just find joy in basic plants like this rubber tree plant, this Ficus elastica burgundy, beautiful plant as well. And then you can see over here, we've got even more plants that she's propagated. So she continues to just chop and prop and continues to just create more life. And I really am in admiration for my grandmother. She did offer me this right here, which I'm going to take home. This is a beautiful spider plant. And you know, I talked about spider plants and wanting it. This one is perfect. And I didn't have to spend like $19.98 for a Costa Farms hanging basket of spider plants. I just need to go to my grandmother's and she can provide it. So she is actually all about propagating it. Like this is a recent propagation of some Hoya. I'm not sure what type of Hoya, but you can clearly see that it is extremely happy. So I'm just going to keep showing you all of the plants. While all of these plants might just be the same plants over and over, I just love the fact that she just has many propagations. Like here is another propagation of a Marble Queen pothos. That she just recently propagated and started to really get a lot of new growth for. That is another thing I would say as far as like plant propagation is a way to save money and grow your plant collection. She is also going to give me this. So this has got a beautiful Syngonium. There's two different types. She's got a Syngonium albo that she's going to give me, as well as that other Syngonium, some type of illusion, berry illusion. But I love that it's a combo pot of two different types of Syngoniums. That's another one that I want to get, and I'm loving that she has that for me. And then she did offer this Enjoy pothos for me, but I told her that I already have enough Enjoy pothos. So if you want some free plants, hit up my grandmother. She's got a ton. And then here is another Syngonium berry illusion, I think, that she got, that she is propagating from. She just keeps getting more and more plants. So that's the thing. And then that's another Ficus elastica taniki that she has propagated. And then she has more Aglaonema that she's propagated over here. So plant foldies, what do you think about these Aglaonema? What do you think about my grandmother's plants? You can clearly see that she does have a green thumb, but again, a green thumb is not necessarily something that you are born with. It is literally the tenacity and hard work you put into it. And then that's another Ficus elastica taniki that she's propagated, another BJ Friedman that she's propagated, and another type of Aglaonema. So if I want some Aglaonema, I probably just need to ask my grandmother if I can take some home. Like I probably should have taken this home. I love the pink, and you know, Aglaonemas around this size are about $30. So you know, for her to be able to get them that size, to be able to propagate them, that is awesome. I think I should go into the business with my grandmother providing me plants and selling them. Like, would you guys actually buy plants from me? Because clearly you can see that is the same begonia. I don't even know what type of begonia that is. But remember when I mentioned that begonias are hard for me to grow versus my grandmother who can grow them just like weeds? Does it not look like a bunch of weeds here? Beautiful weeds. So you can see that this philodendron heteroraceum has literally attached itself to the wall as well. It's just so funny that these are plants that are just living their best life. And as I keep going over here, she just has more and more begonias. And the thing about it is, she started that begonia a couple of years back from just a 3-inch starter plant and has been able to multiply it. So when you talk about somebody who is experienced, who has the time, like these are just new propagations, that is my grandmother. And I am just so glad that I'm able to like record this, capture this, and really show to the world that she is an amazing person that can just grow plants. And a lot of my plant passions do come from my grandmother. I attribute that a lot, and I'm just glad that I'm able to show that to you. So plant foldies, let's give my grandmother some love and show her that. This is my grandmother Belen, my Lola Belen. Welcome to our YouTube channel. So we're looking at her garden here. Grandma, tell me about the begonia. What is your secret to grow the begonia here?
Begonia is very easy to plant because you just cut it and put it in soil and it will grow. But don't put too much on the sun.
Okay.
No, not too much to expose in the sun.
Okay, Grandma, tell me about the Cebu Blue. Who gave you the Cebu Blue?
My grandson.
How small was it when you first got it?
What did you say?
How small was the Cebu Blue?
Yeah,
it was a small.
It's only as big as this.
And
There's plenty.
Okay, what is your favorite plants to grow?
My favorite plants is the Caina and Aglaonema.
Aglaonema.
Yeah.
You like Aglaonema?
Yeah,
okay.
Because it doesn't grow too much and I have no space to put it.
What's your secret for Aglaonema? How do you grow it?
I did not put too much water.
Okay.
And keep it too much. I did not put it into much sun.
Okay. The begonia here, Grandma, right here, that started as one, but you see over here, how many you have over there?
Yeah.
So do you just, how do you propagate it? What do you do? Do you put in water or?
No, I just put it direct to the soil.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's so easy.
So plant foldies, if you want to know why I like plants, it's because of my Lola Belen here. She's going to be 90 years old next year, and you can see she is still healthy and doing plants. What are your advice for anybody who wants to grow plants? Like, what do you think is the best advice you can give? Because you've been growing plants since forever.
Well, it makes me like I do exercise.
Okay.
It's a part of my exercise.
Okay.
Just, do gardening, like grooming my plant, and like feeding, give drinks, and like fertilizer.
Using fertilizer. What are your plants that are hard to grow, that you have tried to grow?
Hard to grow is plumeria.
I don't know, Grandma. Your plumeria here looks good.
Because plumeria doesn't like too much water.
Oh. How about from our home country in the Philippines? They grow easy. Why do you think they grow easy?
Grow easy, because the weather did not like it's not too cold, so you just stick it on the soil like in laying beside the fence, and
then it grows.
It will grow.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like begonias too, right? Begonias is your favorite?
Yeah, begonia. My begonia is like.
Let's see what Grandma's gonna show. Do you see plant foldies? My grandma, she's moving and showing us this. Look at these multiple begonias. I remember giving my begonia to my grandma, a begonia maculata. Look at this. Wow, that is her mother tree right there.
Yeah.
You just keep cutting it, no?
Yeah.
Okay, Grandma, do you need help or you're okay?
No, I'm okay.
See, you can see. So would you say that gardening is one that helps you keep you healthy then, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, look at her philodendron Birkin.
It's my exercise every day.
Awesome. So you can't just have a garden like this without putting a lot of work into it. This looks like you have you put everyday work.
Yeah.
But look at that. She even has fern. Do you propagate the fern, Grandma? Do you make more of these, or is this something you bought? What?
No, I divide it.
Oh, okay. So that's the way to propagate.
Yeah, divide it.
Okay, ang galing.
And this is different.
Okay.
And this is different. This is different varieties of fern.
Oh my gosh. So plant foldies, you know, I always talk about how fern are hard to grow, but you can see that see, my grandma says it's not. But for anybody else, fern is a little hard to grow. And you can see right here, is this the one aglaonema? I love this aglaonema here.
Yeah.
This one is slow growing, yeah? It's slow grow.
It's slow growing, yeah, but this squirrel
Messes with it.
Last night.
And then this one right here is another ficus, right? That one's easy to propagate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, my grandma I'm just visiting her right now, and you can see she has plenty of plants right here. This is the one that it almost died and it came back, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it almost died last year, but I make it pretty again.
okay, well, thank you, Grandma, for showing me these plants right here. What else you got over here?
And this is my asparagus
Fern. Wow, she's gonna show me. Ayun. And then this is one of my favorites. I gave you this plant right here, right? The snake plant, and then you have a desert rose. Do you know what color this is?
Yes, white and pink.
Oh, wow.
Combination of white and pink.
And then plant foldies, this is one of my favorites right here. Is you notice how my grandma has her own little moss pole? This syngonium has grown up a pole right here. This tricolor syngonium, and you can see how she has a lot of spider plants. Baby spider. Do you take this, Grandma, and propagate it? This or you do?
That's why there is lot, because I just cut it. Put it
And in the soil.
it grow.
Okay.
Too much.
Grandma, do you want to say anything else to the viewers? Because I know I'm getting some plants. What else?
I want to recommend you do the gardening. It helps you make your long life.
Okay.
Because you need to take care of them, and it's a part of exercise.
Okay, Grandma, do you have anything to say in Tagalog? Any message for anybody in Tagalog about planting?
Sa mga katulad kong retired, inire-recommend ako sila yung mag-garden, pampahaba ng buhay.
Oh, sige.
Kaya mahabang buhay ko. I'll be 90 next
year.
February.
Grandma, thank you so much for showing me some of your plants. I appreciate it. Plant Foldies, I hope you enjoyed my interview with my grandmother. She is just such a joyful person. I really look up to her. And I did want to just pan out just a couple more of her crotons. So you talk about the crotons we see at big box stores, but you can see that she's been able to grow them for quite a while, and they're in large size forms. She did offer to give me one of these crotons, but the thing about it is I do not want to end up sending these to Plant Heaven. They are so beautiful, and she just says that they do remind her of our home country. And then you can even see right here, she's got a massive desert rose over here. I really hope you guys can send a lot of positivity and love to my grandmother. Leave that in the comments. Let me know what you think of her plants. I would love for her to see that as well, but you can see she's got quite a bit of plants. These are crotons that she's grown for quite a while. She also propagates them, and I love the look of them. Now these are pretty large crotons, but in the Philippines, I'm telling you, they get larger. And then she also has a bunch of Sansevieria trifasciata, or snake plants right here, which she separates and ends up making more plants. And then you can see over here, she's got some more cordyline Hawaiian tea plants, just a green variety. She doesn't really grow them indoors. And as you can see right here in the front part of her home, she also has more snake plants or Sansevieria that I have given over the years that she's been able to grow. You can see that she's got some more new propagations as well. This is a starfish plant that I gave. That's Sansevieria starfish. That's my favorite one, actually. And you can see that she's got multiple propagations of the same plant. I don't even know which one is the mother plant, but all I can say is this. She really does bring a lot of joy to her plants. She does believe that plants will give and improve somebody's lifestyle, their health. She does believe that doing gardening and growing plants has really given her the health that she is. She is of sound mind and body, and I'm so thankful for that. But anyways, Plant Foldies, I really hope you have enjoyed this plant video. This is the one that she did offer to give me. So I will be taking this syngonium here. I actually gave her one of the first syngoniums of that Thai pink splash a while back, and now she's been able to return that and give that back to me. And you can see she's got some more pothos plants right over here. I did want to pan over and just show you how gorgeous these syngoniums are, so you can see that these are all the propagation. So Plant Foldies, I hope you have enjoyed this installment today. I hope that this inspires you to do some more plants. I will have more plant videos with my grandmother, so please leave in the comments if you want to see more from her. I was just glad I was able to convince her to showcase her plants. She says that her plants aren't necessarily the most rare, but that doesn't matter because they are literally grown with a lot of love and passion and joy. And it was really a pleasure for me to show you all that. I really hope you've stuck around this far in the video. Again, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Please leave comments about your thoughts about my grandmother's plants, whether you want to see more from her, because I will definitely plan on doing that. I'll see you on the next one.